Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, Judy Howard is Making It Happen. This episode I've titled, Can We Prepare for the Worst? I ask this question because I hear over and over again people talking about how they are waiting. They are waiting to see what is going to happen. People want certainty. In this episode today, which is, by the way, yesterday's tomorrow, it is my goal to help you consider the opportunities available to you while you are in this space of waiting and seeing. But first, I want to share a couple stories with you. The first story is about a young couple whom I met at a New Year's Day party. I pondered the invitation that I had received from my friend. I thought, I've never been much of a party goer. I prefer one-on-one interactions best. And I would not know anyone at the party except my friend. But those were the exact reasons I decided to accept the invitation, because my intentions for the new year was to try new experiences. The majority of the 20 or more partygoers all seemed to know one another. So I was pleasantly surprised during the party. Pretty much everyone stopped and ended up introducing themselves to me. All were from different walks of life and expressed a curiosity about life that was really refreshing. And then a young couple arrived, probably in their 30s or so, with two young boys, and I guessed them to be about 5 or 6 years old. And as the party progressed, I observed the couple meet the challenges of reining in their youngsters during the party. The boys' energies were at a level of 10 compared to all the rest of the partygoers who were adult, sedate, elderly people. But I found their youth delightfully inspiring. They were full of the future that they didn't even know they owned. And anyway, the fact that the young parents had even came to the party spiked my curiosity. I introduced myself and I complimented them on their parenting skills. They, in turn, shared about their doubts about coming to the party with their children and worried that their boys would have been a bother. But the host, my friend, had reassured the parents that they were welcome and their children were welcome. Lately, I have made a point when I meet parents to thank them for the courage of bringing children into this world, the world everyone is talking so badly about. I reminded them that for the first time in recorded history, the population of the world is decreasing, and it is a depressing sign of our lack of hope and resilience. As I talked to the mother, she did express her worries about how to prepare her boys for the world they were inheriting. I was puzzled by her statement. I asked her, I says, I don't know what you mean. She said, well, you know, like the school shootings, things like that. A shock, a sadness came over me that these good people should even consider bringing up such a wretched scenario. I wanted to said, please don't do that. I begged them. It won't work. Instead, I only said, they will grow up so fast, I wouldn't rush it. I shook my head. I did not want to be the one to give advice on parenting because I had failed miserably raising my daughter. But I did add, they would never understand such a concept. Hell, even we cannot understand why these things happen. So that night, I tossed and turned, searching for the words that I could have said to this young couple that would give them some peace of mind. For parents to have to consider such a disaster for the children is a tragedy in itself. And then finally, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, the hour the universe seems to do its best work, the answer came to me. And I recalled my second story that I want to share with you today about my granddaughter. I was visiting my granddaughter and her family when she asked me if I wanted to walk with her to school to meet up with her two little ones that were just getting out. It was a beautiful day, and when we arrived at the school and were waiting for the children to get out, I marveled at the community of the young mothers and the teachers' monitors all conversing together with one another. And as we proceeded to walk home after the children got out, the street was filled with mothers and even some dads chatting with one another. And at one point, my granddaughter called out to her son, Johnny, and pointed across the street to a boy about Johnny's age who was walking along the sidewalk by himself. My granddaughter called to Johnny and said, "Dylan's walking by himself. Why don't you go over there and walk with him? They've been having a hard time lately." And Johnny trotted over to Dylan, and I watched as the two boys greeted one another with a nod and then continued their walk home together. And at Dylan's house, the boys gave each other a high five and a later, and then rejoined us as we continued on to my granddaughter's house, who was now making certain I was not too tired from my walk. At 3 o'clock in the morning, as I recalled this experience with my granddaughter, I thought of those young parents and their two boys. So the question this episode poses, can we prepare for the worst? My granddaughter's story is the answer to just that question. Absolutely. Even though she was probably not aware, that was exactly what my granddaughter was doing. She was preparing for the worst. She was aware of the world's climate because we had discussed it. But instead of waiting for a change to happen, without really knowing what she was doing, she was preparing her children for what to do when times get tough. Today's psychologists now know that the root of almost all bad behavior begins in childhood, when a child feels unseen or unheard. And because when this happens, it leads to loneliness and consequently then to sadness and meanness. Because these children will believe that they do not matter. There is a parable. It goes like this. If the village ignores a child, he will burn the village down for its warmth. And then there is one more current quote from Victor Glover, one of the astronauts of the Artemis II, who traveled 252,756 miles around the moon and back to tell us that it is the little things that matter the most. And I quote Victor, "The purpose of humanity is joy, lifting one another up and creating together. Savor the small moments," he said, "that we get to do together." These are the words of wisdom he found by traveling around the moon and back. So if you are waiting to see what is going to happen, you need to know that certainty and change only come in the doing of things. It is not the big moments, but instead is the smallest of things that bring certainty. It is walking alongside a friend who is feeling down. If you do the small things while we are waiting, The boy will not have to burn down his village to get its warmth. It is my hope today, which, by the way, again, was yesterday's tomorrow, that after listening, you will consider the opportunities awaiting you while you are in this space of wait and see. Like my granddaughter, you can be the change that makes tomorrow so exciting that you might even forget what you're waiting for. Life can be pretty simple. When you wake in the morning, listen to those who might be struggling. Walk with them. Make sure they make it home. While you are waiting, do the right thing. So the answer is yes, we can prepare for the worst, but we can only make it happen if we do it together. Thank you for listening. I am Judy Howard, and I am making it happen. And if no one has told you, I love you, I believe in you, and I do know that you matter. Have a great day.